on first down. It's the handoff to Higgins. Anderson. Down the sideline.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Top 25 Breakdown. Today, we have number 14, Michigan. A very polarizing team. You either love them or hate them.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
We're excited to be talking about Michigan, yeah.
Michigan football, in 2018, they went 10-3, which they had a 10-game win streak in the middle of the season, well, the whole season, with only losses to Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Florida in the bowl game. Which was tough to see them get slapped around by Florida.
Oh, Drummond in the Peach Bowl. I mean, it's like a nice little sandwich. Yeah, disappointments at both ends, but a lot of success in the middle. So.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But they do have some returning pieces with Shea Patterson being the most obvious. Quarterback is huge, especially because this is the second year for Shea Patterson. Running back, Christian Turner and True Wilson are the only returning running backs that have actual experience. They did move Hassan Haskins and Ben Van Summeren to running backs to help add depth. 4 of the 5 offensive line guys come back, with only loss being right tackle Jawan Bushell-Beatty. But Andrew Stuber has had game experience and will most likely be the one to take the hold on the right side.
Right, and same just building off of that offensive line, they do still return John Runyon Jr. and Ben Bredesen, both John Runyon Jr. being the tackle and then Ben being one of the guards. Both seniors, a lot of experience, a lot of leadership on that O-line.
Right, and then moving to receiver, they do have Donovan Peoples-Jones, Nico Collins, Ronnie Bell, and Tariq Black. This group is extremely talented, and they have a lot of depth. The one thing is that they lack consistency, mainly because of injuries last year.
It's one of those things where like Donovan Peoples-Jones and Nico Collins are both, I think, they're going to be the 2 most productive receivers on the team. I mean, their stats combined would be less than 90 receptions and totaling for a little bit over 1,200 yards, with a total of 14 total touchdowns last year. Those 2 guys alone are very productive and very good weapons for Shea Patterson to
Yeah, a lot of good possession guys. And they do have Carlo Camp, Michael Dwumfor, Aiden Hutchinson, all return to the D-line to bring plenty of potential for them.
Yeah, on the defense side of the ball, they do bring back Josh Ross, Josh Uche, and Khaleke Hudson, all 3 linebackers, which I imagine would be the 3 starting linebackers in their defense. As well, in the secondary, they have Lavert Hill and Josh Metellus, both seniors. Lavert Hill being one of the corners and Josh being one of the safeties.
Nice. So strength would be mainly just offensive guys. Offense being just quarterback, O-line, receivers. Those guys. There's going to be the most experienced offensive line for Michigan.
It's a nasty O-line. It's going to be a nasty O-line. I mean, you can probably say that this is probably going to be one of the best or the best Big Ten offensive lines that we're going to see in 2019. They have many vets, like we mentioned before, and they're talented, and they have also a lot of depth coming in from the young guys.
Quarterback position is going to be huge because this will be Shea Patterson's second year in the system. It might be a little hit and miss because of the new offensive coordinator, but I do think that this system should benefit Shea Patterson.
Yeah, and also knowing that he has Dylan McCaffrey in the wings ready to go. He was turning heads in the spring, and I imagine he's going to keep it up and keep the fire lit underneath Shea's seat. So
yeah, also having the right receivers, a lot of depth, a lot of talent there. Yep. Also, defensive side, you have Don Brown still coming back.
Don Brown, great DC.
A great defensive coordinator that does a really good job of scheming, bringing a lot of pressure from different angles. He did that really well against Notre Dame. Struggled a little bit against Ohio State, but I mean, you saw a little bit of what they could do, and also giving a pretty hard beating to Penn State.
Yeah, as you saw this last year, I think Michigan's defense ended number 2 in the country.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, Don Brown can really do it all, especially if he has the talent that he has now, and he's able to work with him and put him wherever he needs to. So another one of my strengths is the secondary is going to be something to be taken notice of, especially with the guys I mentioned, Lavert Hill and Josh Metellus, still returning and being those leadership and experienced players, as well as they will be bringing Daxton Hill, a 5-star safety, in the 2019 class, and you can expect him to see immediate playing time. And another strength that I have, in my opinion, is the linebackers are going to be fine without Devin Bush. Like I mentioned previously, they do bring back Josh Ross, Josh Uche, and Khaleke Hudson, all 3 of them combining for over 100 tackles. And I am, or everyone else is expecting that these are going to be the 3 starting linebackers for their system. I'm thinking that Josh Uche is going to have a phenomenal year. He even had a phenomenal year last year with 13 total 13 total tackles, 12 solo, 8 tackle for losses, and 7 sacks. And just his very little playing time that he had last year alone.
Yeah, but they do have some concerns. One of my concerns is Josh Gaddis as a first-time OC. At Alabama, he was the co-OC with Mike Locksley. Mike Locksley ended up leaving to Maryland, but I think Mike Locksley had more of a say in that offense just because he was there 3 years and Josh Gaddis was only there for a year. So I think that might be very interesting to watch just because this is his first year running the whole offense.
Right. He's got a lot of. He himself even has guys that can fill the roles that need to be filled. I'm sure he's picked up a lot of X's and O's and schemes and from being over Alabama, and he has the guys to fill them.
Right. I think one of the things that he said is his offense is a mutt offense, which is basically just a offense of just everything that he's learned and. I guess it'll be very interesting to see how all of that works together.
Right.
But I think the biggest concern is running back is going to be huge. Running back is going to be hard to replace Karan Higdon just because of the production that he brought from last year.
As well as not only losing Karan Higdon, just during the offseason, we found out that Chris Evans was also suspended due to his academics, which really hurts the depth and experience of the team. They still, like you mentioned previously, they still do have Christian Turner and True Wilson, the only 2 guys that really had any playing time last year.
Right.
True Wilson being the main guy out of, I imagine he's going to be the main guy out of the bunch for 2019. He played 13 games in 2018, has 62 attempts with 362 yards and 1 touchdown. Not to mention that they do bring 4-star running back Zach Charbonnet. He's a 2019 commit, and if he's able to wow a couple coaches, he might see some playing time himself.
Yeah, he might. I do think that one of my concerns would be the defensive side of the ball. I do think that losing star power like Rashawn Gary, Devin Bush, Chase Winovich, and David Long will hurt a little bit just because of all the talent and all the tackles that they can get. I don't think that they'll take a huge step back, but I do think it's a slight step back. It's still a very good defense, though.
Very good.
Still very good defense.
Just sticking on the defense side of the ball, I did see that in the red zone defense, it has to get better. They ended with the 2nd worst red zone defense in 2018. 93% of the time teams enter the red zone against Michigan, they scored. So there was a total of 30 trips, and out of those 30, 20 of them ended in touchdowns.
Yeah, I think another concern would be Jim Harbaugh, especially going up against rivals. I don't think his record against rivals is all that great, and especially against Ohio State. They're 0-4 against Ohio State, which I think if you can't beat Ohio State this year, then your team has really underachieved. Twice blowing opportunities against the Buckeyes that would have put them in the playoff.
Yep.
And then also, last year was the 3rd straight year that Michigan finished the season with back-to-back losses. That's the season finale and the bowl game. Especially the bowl game was just atrocious.
Yeah,
it was not great. Also, another concern would be hype. I think hype is the biggest thing that kills most teams. Is heading into 2018 last year, the Wolverines received a ton of hype, and it's the same every year. The biggest thing that Michigan needs to do this year is beat your rivals and beat Ohio State. Looking at their 2019 schedule, they have the really good games at home and some away games that may be a little bit questionable just because of if this team will come to play. Particularly looking at Penn State, that game will be very interesting.
Or Wisconsin.
Yeah, or Wisconsin. So they start the season with Middle Tennessee, Army, bye, at Wisconsin, Rutgers, Iowa, at Illinois, at Penn State, Notre Dame, at Maryland, another bye, Michigan State, at Indiana, Ohio State, and if they're good enough, maybe the Big Ten championship. Maybe, but the toughest game, right? The good thing about this schedule is they have their toughest games are at home.
Yes.
So they will have to host Notre Dame, host Michigan State, and host Ohio State, and also Iowa.
Yep, and as we did a little recap of Iowa.
Go check out Iowa.
Could be challenging for them.
Yeah, but one of the sleepers on this schedule is really Army. I think with having that
Definitely.
offense, that experienced offensive line and the experienced offense in general for Army is going to be very tough to prepare for that.
And as you said before, or I said before, it's hard for any team to really cover the triple option with how fast it moves and all the different little nuances about it. It's really hard to keep track of who's getting the ball in that triple option.
Right. So worst case scenario, what do you think would happen?
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. I'm thinking 8-4. This is worst case scenario. I'm not saying they're gonna go 8-4. I'm just saying if the wheels fall off the truck, 8-4.
8-4. Wow. I'm gonna stick to what Las Vegas has them at. I think it's 9.5. The line is 9.5. I do think that they go 9-3. I think they lose to Ohio State, Notre Dame, and I would say either a Michigan State or Iowa team. So what? Okay. But what do you most likely think? What do you think?
Most likely, I think they return to 9-3, and then maybe getting maybe 9-3 in the regular season, maybe getting another win in a bowl game, maybe winning their bowl game this time. But in the 9-3, I'm thinking they lose to Ohio State, they lose to Notre Dame, and they lose maybe to an Iowa team or at Wisconsin.
Yeah, my most likely would be 10-2. I do think that the toughest games on the schedule are Notre Dame and Ohio State. I think Notre Dame has an extra week to prepare for Michigan, so I think that might have something to do with that. And also Ohio State hasn't shown anything to me that says that Michigan can beat them. Right. Last year, Ohio State just ran away with that. I mean, the speed, you could tell, it's what really killed Michigan.
It's not like Ohio State's falling off because Urban left.
Exactly. So what do you think the best case scenario would be?
My best case scenario for this team, I'm thinking they go 10-2 in the regular season. I'm thinking they lose to Ohio State and Notre Dame. You did mention previously that Notre Dame does have 2 weeks to prepare for this. It could be it most likely would be a night game. It's going to be a very anticipated game. I'm thinking Notre Dame comes out with, squeaks out of the Big House with a tight win, maybe even a field goal win. Who knows? And I'm thinking when even that they host Ohio State at the Big House, I'm thinking that's going to be a drumming by Ohio State. I'm thinking Ohio State wins 2 touchdowns more.
Yeah, I think best case scenario, I think is 11-1. I do think that this team is good enough offensively, defensively. They have the pieces. Now it's all about just making everything work. I think that the only loss would be to Ohio State, just because Ohio State. I'm telling you right now, Ohio State, they might have lost Urban Meyer, but Ryan Day ran that offense, and he understands what he has to do there, and there's no way that they're going to fall off of just after 1 year without Urban Meyer. So I do think that is one of the toughest games that they will play, but I do think that Ohio State would win that one, and I think 11-1 is really good, especially if they lose to Ohio State. I think there's a possibility of them getting into the playoff, but it's very unlikely just because you would have to be able to win your division and also win the conference.
Yeah, or even get to the conference championship game. Yeah. And with their loss to Ohio State, that won't happen unless Ohio State loses other games in the season.
Yeah, then it's just Ohio State it's just in the playing spoiler.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it could happen. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching this video. If you guys liked it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe because it helps us out. Hey, we'll see you guys next time.
Yep.